Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Haolonggood release. Yes, they are back from the Chinese New Year, and they are back in full power with a brand new Ceratopsian. We've got ourselves the Chasmosaurus in 1/35th scale, and I am so psyched for this release because Chasmosaurus, growing up when I was younger, was always my favorite Ceratopsian, and there are just so few models out for it, so to see such a beautiful version from Haolonggood is definitely very exciting. You can see the box art is pretty much your standard. You've got the species name, the Haolonggood logo, the scale, and of course a nice image of the figure there. On the side, you've got the Haolonggood logo again. Pretty much the same image on the other side. Just basically your, standard stuff from Haolonggood. And then up here on the top, you can see a whole bunch of other Ceratopsians that are out currently in the Haolonggood line, and then one set of the Megaraptors down here. So very, very nice box as per usual. So let's pop it open and check these out. So here are our Chasmosaurus. Looking actually really quite nice. Definitely a fan of the paint jobs on these guys. Of course, the sculpt is beautiful. Haolonggood, honestly, just like, I feel like they came out of nowhere and pretty much tried to take over, and they're doing a great job of taking over when it comes to especially Ceratopsians. Like, they have just been pumping out the Ceratopsians, and if you had seen the image they shared recently showing off a whole bunch of the 2024 releases we will be getting, which I feel like probably won't be all of what we'll get this year, you definitely know that they are planning quite a few more Ceratopsians after this. But honestly, these two are a breath of fresh air, if you ask me, in a very Chasmosaurus dry collecting community. These two I open with welcome arms. So let's jump straight to a closer look and we'll check them out from there. So in typical Haolonggood, we've got two different paint variants, as you could obviously already tell. One of which that I feel like represents a male, one of which in my opinion represents a female. I feel like this one would probably be the male, but of course I think that would be open to your own interpretation, but my personal opinion is this would probably be the male. And if you look here at the side of the head, the skin texture, the entire head sculpt, the detailing looks absolutely amazing. Honestly, I would say it's probably one of the best sculpted Ceratopsians I think I've seen from Haolonggood. It honestly feels like even a higher jump in quality compared to their older releases. The skin texture looks really nice. You have all sorts of very fine skin detail here in the face, as well as a little variation of color. You can see that we've got like a nice greenish tone for the face, a little darker tone there in the eye socket. You can also see that we've got a nice dark wash present. Kind of looks like we've got some variations of browns and stuff here moving through the face as well. You can see the nostrils. The beak as well is sculpted beautifully. So many tiny small cracks and crevices in the beak. There's also a nice black coloration with a kind of looks like a light gray dry brushing over the beak, so that helps to highlight all of the detail. The horns on our Chasmosaurus as well, again, are sculpted beautifully. You can see so much really nice fine detail in those horns. I like that they start out with a darker tone and transition to a lighter tone, even including like an off-white sort of, but also some like brownish tones and even like orangish browns. Just, impressive that they can cram so much slight color variation into something so small. You can see the eyes are painted with a gorgeous blue, given a nice black pupil, and they do have a nice gloss coat to them. My camera could focus on it. As you move up into the frill, you start to see the skin texture and scale detail look a little different. We get much larger scales, but you can see larger scales kind of leading back behind the eye there, mixing with smaller scales as you move through the course of the frill. Again, that dark wash continues to help highlight all of the detail beautifully. We have more really nice greenish tones up here, as well as some darker tones that sort of stripe and design through. Again, exactly what you would like to see in the frill of a Ceratopsian, but I feel like it's not overly flashy. Like, it looks really, really good. You can also see the spikes and everything moving along the side of the frill are all very nicely sculpted, very nicely painted. Overall, that's probably one of my favorite Ceratopsian head sculpts and paint jobs from Haolonggood up until this point. Moving back into the neck, you can see all sorts of skin detail here, especially like skin wrinkles and folds. Moving back into the throat, you can see the throat itself. Again, the dark wash is really quite nicely present. You've also got like some yellowish browns as you you move back in more greens, as well as this sort of off-white tone as you lead up. You can see more of the greens moving through and kind of patterning through the body. You have very, very nice, very vibrant and crisp scale detail moving through the figure as well. You can see the scale detail really pops, really jumps out at you. We also have all sorts of small osteoderms popping up here and there through the course of the figure. And as you move up into the back of our Chasmosaurus, you can see some really nice purplish tones up here. Haolonggood is always very good at kind of giving their figures some very nice vibrant colors, and you could see, even though you look at it from the side and it's just like, oh, some nice greenish tones and stuff, you can see that they still add some beautiful, more vibrant colors like these purples up here in the back following along the spinal column. You can also see a row of ridges following along the spinal column up there, and once you look at it from the top, you can really see again all of those osteoderms. But as you move down into the legs, you can see the ceratopsians obviously moving, kind of walking along, and because the front and rear legs are kind of moving together here, like closer to each other, you can see how it's bunching the skin up in the stomach region of the dinosaur. Again, extremely nice paint application. All of the paint is very smoothly applied, and it looks as natural and realistic as it could get. As you move down into that front leg, you can see we transition to a purplish tone like we have in the back, but also a darker tone as you move down into the feet. The nails are painted with a nice glossy black, which you can see. Again, which definitely helps to give them a nice dose of realism, and the darker tone overtakes the feet on every side, which you can see. Obviously, this foot is lifting up off of the ground. You can see how the toes are just kind of leaving the ground. This foot would be starting to plant down on the ground, and you can see they have perfectly highlighted that and detailed that on the sculpt. As you move up here, you can see the muscle definition in the thigh. Again, all sorts of nice skin wrinkles and skin folds as you move through. All kinds of osteoderms, and again, very impressive scale detail moving through the course of the figure. You can kind of see the skin stretching off of the tail here as this leg takes a step forward and again is walking. As you lead out, you can see even more impressive skin detail through the course of the tail. You have a nice slight turn in the tail as well. Again, that purple follows along the spinal column. And if you look at the underside, the dark wash again, very, very present here on the underside, but you can also see again that the sculpt and detail looks great. As we turn the dinosaur around and take a look at the opposing side, you're not going to see much in the way of like difference in the head sculpt, because the dinosaur maybe has like a slight turn to the head. Yeah, ever so slightly turned toward its right. For the most part, it's almost like sticking straight forward out, so you're not going to see a whole lot of difference as you move back into the neck in that area either. The only really big difference on this side compared to the initial side would be the positioning of the legs. Obviously, with the dinosaur walking, we have the legs spread further apart on this side compared to the opposing side, which does help to give you a little bit of a better view of the stomach and the detailing within the stomach. Again, how nice the scale detail and everything looks. But honestly, this is an absolutely incredible Chasmosaurus. So not only did they give us, again, that Chasmosaurus figure that, in my opinion, I've been wanting for a very long time, it's probably, even if we had other ones, which we have a few, like we've got the Beasts of the Mesozoic and the Collect A version, but when it comes to figures like this, the only one I could think of would be the Collect A version, so this is absolutely miles better than that. Again, even if there were other really good ones out, this would probably still be the best. And then we've also got the brownish version. Now this version, in my opinion, would be the female, and just like with the other one, it is the same sculpt as you usually find with Haolonggood. They usually give you just the same sculpt, different paint jobs. Once in a while you get a little bit of difference like with the Dilophosaurus and stuff, but for the most part they're the same. And you can see that, again, that means we don't need to go over the sculpt, just basically the paint apps. And what you can see is you've got some nice variations of browns in the face. You've got kind of darker browns in the face, although it does lighten a little bit as you move down into the lower jaw. But you can see again a little bit of lightening as we move, not lightening, but a lightening to the brown as you move up into the frill as well. Same style of paintwork. Again, you've got variation of color to the horns. We start out with the darker tone, transition to the lighter tone. Same type of paintwork for the beak, again with the black and then that light gray dry brushing, making sure to highlight all of that detail perfectly. We have the blue eyes as well, just like we saw on the other Chasmosaurus. As you move back into the neck, though, you have a much lighter variation of brown, and I feel like the patterning doesn't quite pop on this one the way it does on the other one, which I actually really do like, because I think that it just stands out more on the male and is a little bit less obvious on the female, which is kind of what I would expect when it comes to dinosaurs like that. So that's actually a really nice thing. But as you move through, again, you can see that we basically have that lighter tone and the lighter browns kind of transitioning back and forth as you move through. Again, Combining that with the dark wash that is present on the figure, as you move up into the back, you can kind of see a darker variation of a brown or even like a purplish brown following along the spinal column. But when you move down into the feet, you've got that nice area of flashiness with a bluish tone. You also have a black tone for the nails, just like we saw in the other one, but we do have a nice gloss coat for it. It's just that the black nails, I think, stand out a little better because of the blue feet. And then you move back out toward the tip of the tail, and you can see that we ever so smoothly transition to a bluish tone for the tip of the tail. Again, kind of darker tones for the underside, especially with that dark wash highlighting all of the detail, which I'm so happy to continuously see that dark wash present on the Haolonggood figures. You can also see that there is some patterning on the back of the frill, again with the darker tones. I don't know if the other one had that. Maybe I missed that. Oh yeah, absolutely, you can see it right there. Also has those dark tones on the back of the frill. But again, same thing as the other one. You're not going to see much difference over here. You can just basically get a nice look at what the paint apps look like, which are absolutely spectacular on this figure. Again, not just two of the best Chasmosaurus figures, but honestly two of the best ceratopsian figures I think I've ever seen. As far as a size goes, we'll just go ahead and pull one out of here and then just get a size on one of the two. For a length from the tip of the tail about 5 inches or closing in on 13 centimeters, but not quite. And then for a height to the top of the frill, you are looking at a little under 2 3/4 inches or a little hair under 7 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A human being next to our Chasmosaurus, showing you that obviously it's a bit on the smaller side. And because it's near me, why not? Here is the Papo Ineosaurus, the 2023 release, again next to our Chasmosaurus. I think some Haolonggood ceratopsian comparisons would probably be best, though, because here we have their Pseudoceratops, which obviously is a bit larger than their Chasmosaurus. We also have their gorgeous Cosmoceratops, which is extremely similar in size to their Chasmosaurus, as well as their Sinoceratops, which obviously, again, is a bit larger than the Chasmosaurus. And then for one final comparison, we also have the Haolonggood Ouranosaurus, which you can see again is drastically larger than our Chasmosaurus, but I feel like it's probably one of the more popular Haolonggood releases, so one that I definitely wanted to compare with their Chasmosaurus. So these brand new Haolonggood 1/35th scale Chasmosaurus models are both gorgeous. Again, I expect no less when it comes to Haolonggood. They have been on such a roll over the last probably year or so, producing easily their best work, but also some of the best prehistoric models on the market, and again, knocking each and every release out of the park. And we have that exact same situation with these Chasmosaurus, two of the best ceratopsian models I think I've ever seen. Sculpt-wise, they are as impressive as it gets, again, sporting every ounce of detail that you would expect to see, every small skin fold, skin wrinkle, all the impressive scale detail. Everything is sculpted to the max, and I feel like it's almost even better than your usual Haolonggood release, which is a plus, especially for me, being, again, a big fan of Chasmosaurus growing up. It's so nice to have such a gorgeous, highly detailed, and incredibly well-painted Chasmosaurus model. I'm also super impressed, speaking of the paintwork, I'm super impressed by the paintwork of these because, again, Haolonggood paint jobs are always fantastic, but I feel like ever since they began applying those dark washes, it just ties the entire paint job together so perfectly and so realistically. But again, the figure's fairly small, so it's always so impressive to me to see how smooth the patterning and everything is on Haolonggood releases. And yet again, exactly the same case here, and both paint jobs are really nicely done on either version, whether it be the male or the female. Again, I guess it's up to you to interpret which one is which, but I really feel like the green would be the male, the brown would be the female, and they both look so nice, again, especially when it comes to the paint job aspect. Again, they did a great job overall. But again, absolutely two very high recommendations from me. Just based on the fact that it's a Chasmosaurus, it would have already been a high recommendation, but the fact that they are so gorgeous in hand makes them a very high recommendation. So if you are interested, I will include a link in the description to where you can purchase these on Lana Time Shop right now. So make sure you check that link in the description, go grab these for yourself, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.